A dangerously high fever left me unconscious. If my friend hadn't found me and got me to the hospital in time, I would have died. Lying in a hospital bed, I called my girlfriend to ask if she could come stay with me for a bit. She just scoffed. "You're a grown man, hospitalized for a fever, and you need someone to hold your hand? Can't you be a man about it?" That same afternoon, I saw her Instagram story. She was on a spontaneous road trip, comforting her old flame who had just been dumped. A photo of them holding hands in front of a quirky Airbnb with the caption, "No matter when, no matter what, I'll always be right here by your side." I let out a bitter laugh, liked the post, and left a comment. "Congrats. Hope you two have a lifetime of happiness." 2 weeks ago, when I was in the hospital with that fever, I wanted Chloe to be there. Instead, she told me Caleb had just gone through a breakup and she was taking him to Austin for a few days to get his mind off things. My blood pressure spiked. When she finally came home, I let all my frustration out, but she just brushed it off. "It wasn't just the two of us," she said calmly. "A few of her old friends from college went too." She said it so casually, completely oblivious to how I felt. Taking a trip with a guy who's freshly single, even with a group, felt like a line had been crossed. We'd been giving each other this silent treatment ever since. Yesterday, she sent me a text. "You always wanted me to meet your friends, right? I'll come to the get-together tomorrow." I stared at the message, stunned. We'd been together for years, and I'd tried so many times to introduce her to my circle. Partly because she's gorgeous, and I was proud to have her on my arm, and partly because you're supposed to introduce the person you love to your friends and family. But she always had an excuse, leaving me to look like a fool in front of my friends, who would periodically ask if we'd broken up yet. Now she was offering to come, but I felt no joy. If this had been before, her simply agreeing to hang out would have made my entire day. I knew what this was. It was an olive branch, an opportunity for me to be the one to bend, to apologize and make things right. It was always like this. Every fight, every cold shoulder, ended with me groveling for forgiveness, as if I was the only one who cared about this relationship. And the truth was, I couldn't bear to lose her. So I always forgave her and went crawling back. She knew exactly how to play me. After I'd sufficiently humbled myself, she'd throw me a scrap of affection, just enough to make me fall all over myself for her again. She treated me like a puppy she could summon with a treat. When I was obedient, she'd happily scratch me behind the ears. But if I dared to bark, she wouldn't hesitate to pull my teeth. And I was the idiot who kept coming back for more, my memory always filtering out the hurt and only focusing on good. My friends used to tell me, "Ethan, you have to love yourself first. Don't be such a doormat." I never listened, even though deep down I knew a relationship like this was doomed. I was in too deep. I didn't want to leave, so I clung to the hope that one day she'd change for me. I read her text with a blank expression and replied, "Okay, see you tomorrow." We were supposed to meet at 10 in the morning. It was now 3 in the afternoon. My friends had all been excited to finally meet Chloe. Now, after waiting with me for hours, they were trying to console me, suggesting that maybe something important just came up. I glanced at my phone, not a single message. I grabbed a beer and clinked bottles with them. "Whatever, man. It's fine," I said with a laugh. "It doesn't matter if she's here or not." I wasn't sure if I was trying to convince them or myself. Maybe it was true. Maybe my life would be the same with or without her. Later, I got a text from an old college buddy. It came with a video. "Ethan, are Caleb and Chloe a thing now?" The video was a selfie Caleb had taken. Chloe was sitting next to him on a porch swing, smiling radiantly. My friend sent another text. It was on Caleb's Instagram story. The caption was, "So glad you've been by my side all these years." 2. It was 8 o'clock when I got home. Chloe was already there, sitting on the couch as if she'd been waiting for me. "Why didn't you answer my texts?" she asked the moment I walked in. "Did you text me?" I looked down at my phone and realized the screen was black. My phone died. I didn't notice. I poured myself a glass of water. "What did you say?" I asked casually. "I'm hungry. I thought you would have made dinner." She said it so matter-of-factly, as if she hadn't noticed I'd been drinking. Worried she wasn't eating well, I'd spent a ton of time after graduation learning to cook. I've been so enthusiastic back then, and now I could make a different meal every night of the week. I got into the habit of rushing home after work to cook for her, even though I never knew if she'd actually be home to eat. She rarely was. It was normal. She was either out with her girlfriend for Instagram-worthy dinners or at happy hour with her coworkers. Or Caleb would call, and she'd be gone. Getting to eat with her twice in 1 week was a luxury. I already ate. You should just order some Uber Eats, I replied flatly and started toward the bedroom to shower. It had been a long day, and the weekend was almost over. I had to be up early for work. Wait, Chloe stopped me, stepping in front of me. I'm sorry I bailed today. Caleb ran into some trouble and needed my help. To make it up to you, how about I take you out to dinner tomorrow night? I waved my hand dismissively as I walked past her. It's fine. Friends are supposed to help each other out. Besides, he always calls you when he needs something. And don't worry about dinner. I have to work late tomorrow. She wouldn't let it go, calling after me, Ethan, I've been craving those tacos from the truck on 12 TH Street. That old truck had been there for over a decade. We discovered it in college, and the food was so good we went all the time. Sometimes Chloe would get a sudden craving, and I'd go get them for her, no matter if it was raining, snowing, or hailing. But tonight, I just wasn't feeling it. Oh, well, you'd better hurry then. They close at 10. With that, I went into my room and shut the door. A moment later, as I was getting my clothes ready, I heard the front door slam shut. She was angry. She had left. Because this time, when she offered me a way back, I didn't take it. I didn't beg her to make up. 3. The next morning, I left early for work. Chloe hadn't come home last night, but that was typical. Whenever we fought, she'd go sleep in the guest room. I was more than happy to have the king-sized bed in the master bedroom all to myself. It had now been 3 weeks since our last fight, and we still hadn't made up. This was the longest we'd ever gone without speaking. Before, I would have been scrambling to fix things, terrified of losing her. But now, I realized that not being in contact with her was a relief. I could finally throw myself into my work without constantly monitoring her moods or dropping everything to instantly reply to her texts. The past few days had been fulfilling. I barely even thought about Chloe. It hit me then that my entire life had revolved around her, which was why I'd been stuck in the same position in my company for over 3 years without any real progress. Many of my colleagues who started at the same time had been promoted or had at least developed new skills. And me? I was just drifting, often struggling to finish my work by the end of the day. I thought that if I just poured all my love into Chloe, I'd find happiness. Instead, both my love life and my career were falling apart. I couldn't pinpoint when the rose-colored glasses came off. Maybe those 2 days of burning fever had finally incinerated the perfect image of her I held in my mind. I decided it was time to invest in myself. In college, I was ambitious. I pushed myself to be better so I could keep up with the incredible woman Chloe was. There's a saying, she was the best and worst thing that ever happened to me. Back then, my world was Chloe. I became a better man for her, but then, because my world was only her, I stopped growing. By the time I graduated, my dream wasn't to build a great career, but simply to marry Chloe. It's laughable now. I thought it was such a simple dream, but it turned out to be an impossible one. Every time I brought up marriage, she'd say we were still young and she wasn't ready. My department had just launched a major project that offered a huge opportunity for growth, and I jumped at the chance to get involved. I knew the next few weeks would be intense, but time was the one thing I had plenty of now. I even signed up for a gym membership in my office building. After work, I'd go for a solid hour or two. Chloe rarely contacted me, which was fine. We didn't bother each other. 4. 3 days later, in the afternoon, I was in a meeting with my colleagues. The project lead told us we'd probably be pulling some serious overtime for the next couple of weeks. Just push through this, everyone, he said. The bonuses at the end will make it all worth it. Afterward, he had a huge spread of snacks and coffee brought in. During a rare break, I was munching on a chicken wing and scrolling through my Instagram feed. I was surprised to see that Chloe, who almost never posted, had updated her story. It was a single picture, no caption. I tapped on it. A table set with 2 plates of steak and glasses of red wine. In the corner of the frame, a man's hand rested on the table. Of course, every special exception was for Caleb. Even though his face wasn't in the shot, I recognized the watch on his wrist instantly. Chloe had taken me to a watch store a while back, asking me to pick one out from a guy's perspective. I thought it was for me. I found out later it was a birthday present for Caleb. What she didn't know was that the day she took me to pick out his watch was my birthday. This time, I hadn't reminded her. She'd never cared to remember anyway. After all these years, I knew her playbook. She was posting this to make me feel threatened, to make me come crawling back, begging for us to be okay. But looking at it now, I felt nothing, not even the slightest urge to ask her about it. After we finished eating, my colleagues and I got back to work. I pushed all thoughts of Chloe out of my mind. Around 5:30, my phone rang. It was her. "Hey, I'll wait for you downstairs after you get off work." Chloe's voice was flat, giving nothing away. I frowned, wondering why she was suddenly showing up at my office. The last time she'd driven me to work was, 2 years ago? Is something up? I said calmly. "I'm working late tonight." There was a long pause on the other end. "Why are you suddenly working late? What time will you be done?" Of course, she had no idea what was going on in my life. I had been coming home late every night for the past week. I even posted an Instagram story from the office late one night. She clearly hadn't seen it. A bitter smile touched my lips. "Probably 9 or 10. If you need something, just tell me now. Don't wait that long for me." "It's fine. I'll pick you up then." She hung up before I could refuse. I didn't have time to dwell on her bizarre behavior. I dove back into my work. The project was challenging, but with senior colleagues guiding me, I was learning an incredible amount. Before I knew it, it was 9:30. After a quick wrap-up meeting, I said goodbye to my team and left the office. Downstairs, Chloe's car was parked by the entrance. In the glare of the headlights, I could see Caleb in the passenger seat, grinning from ear to ear. They must have been deep in conversation before I showed up. When Caleb saw me, he waved enthusiastically. "Ethan, over here, man." I glanced at Chloe's impassive face, walked over, and got into the back seat. I didn't bother saying hello. The project had left me drained, and all I wanted was to go home and sleep. "Hey, Ethan," Caleb said, his voice oozing fake sincerity. "Chloe and I just grabbed some dinner, and she was giving me a lift home. Don't get the wrong idea, okay?" In the rearview mirror, I could see the triumphant glint in his eyes. I almost laughed. I never met someone so shameless. I grunted, closing my eyes to rest. Chloe didn't say a word to me the entire time. Her focus was solely on Caleb. Whenever Caleb was around, the passenger seat was never mine. I tried to talk to her about it before, but she just called me childish for getting worked up over a seat. "Caleb gets carsick in the back," she'd said. "What's the big deal?" In the past, a scene like this would have sent me into a rage. Tonight, I just didn't have the energy. As the car moved, just as I was about to drift off, Caleb intentionally raised his voice. "Chloe, that steak tonight was amazing. We should go back again sometime." "Definitely," Chloe replied with a light laugh, her voice soft. "The ambience was great, too. We could make it a regular spot." I remembered how Chloe was always so gentle with Caleb, from her tone of voice to the way she looked at him. With me, she was impatient and cold. "I just feel a little bad that you cut my steak for me every time," Caleb added. He grinned, and his eyes met mine in the rearview mirror just as I opened them. "It's nothing, really," she said, smiling sweetly at Caleb, completely ignoring my presence in the back. The first time I took Chloe out for steak, I cut it for her. She thanked me politely, but said she wasn't used to people doing that for her. She had never once done it for me. She never even passed me a dish at the dinner table. The contrast was so stark, it was almost funny. My eyes fluttered open again. In the mirror, Caleb's smug expression was even more pronounced. I knew his game. He always did this to provoke me, to make me lose my temper, so he could watch Chloe get angry at me while he played the innocent bystander. But this time, I didn't take the bait. He was probably cursing me out in his head for not giving him the reaction he wanted. The car fell silent for a moment before filling up again with Chloe and Caleb's laughter. I was so tired that I fell into a deep sleep. When I woke up, the car was quiet. Chloe was looking back at me. The passenger seat was empty. "How long have we been here? Why didn't you wake me?" I rubbed my eyes and lightly slapped my cheeks to wake myself up. She didn't answer, just got out of the car. I grabbed my bag and followed her into the building. Back in our apartment, she handed me a glass of water. "Have you been working hard lately?" "I've been working until 10 at night. What do you think?" I took a sip, looking at her, exasperated. "Well, you didn't have to fall asleep the second you got in the car. You didn't even talk to us." I waved her off and headed for the bedroom. "You two seem to be having a great time." I didn't have anything to add. "I'm really tired. I'm going to take a shower and go to bed." I had no desire to continue the conversation. I knew the next 3 sentences would be about Caleb, and I was genuinely exhausted. Don't get the wrong idea, she said, following me. My college friends invited us all out to dinner tonight. They invited Caleb, too. I was just giving him a ride home. Her explanation surprised me. In the past, when I cared about these things and asked her about them, she'd refuse to explain and get annoyed with me. Now, she was volunteering information. Women were complicated. Okay, I said flatly, not breaking my stride. I was going to ask you to come with me tonight, but then you said you had to work late. It's fine, I cut her off. As long as you had a good time. I grabbed my clothes and ducked into the bathroom. She slept in the guest room again that night. I didn't care. I collapsed onto the bed and was out like a light. 5. Once I got the hang of the project, we started making much faster progress. Today, we finished by 8, so I hit the gym downstairs for a couple of hours. Looking at my reflection in the mirror, energetic and alive, I felt like the ambitious guy I was in college had returned. I smiled, rinsed off quickly, changed, and walked out of the building. I saw Chloe leaning against her car. She spotted me and waved immediately. Ethan! I paused for a second, then walked to the car and, out of habit, got into the back seat. I might have been imagining it, but she seemed to freeze for a moment, a look of surprise on her face. Maybe it was because I used to be so childish about claiming the passenger seat, and my new indifference caught her off guard. "Why so late tonight?" she asked, her brow furrowed. I looked out the window at the city lights. "I went to the gym. You don't have to wait for me every day." She was quiet for a moment. "I want to," she said. "This isn't the way home." "Where are you taking me?" I asked, noticing we were heading in the opposite direction. She glanced at me in the rearview mirror. "It's Jenna's birthday today," she said slowly. "She got a booth at a bar and wants us to come hang out." She passed a small gift bag from the passenger seat to me. I already picked up a present for her from both of us. Jenna was one of her best friends from college. Their group had only gotten closer since graduation. They were always hanging out, which was a big reason Chloe was rarely home for dinner. Back in college, when Chloe was chasing Caleb, that group of friends had been her biggest cheerleaders. Even though it never worked out, they all became good friends with Caleb and always invited him out. Caleb had a reputation. Everyone on campus knew he was a player. But when it came to Chloe, he always said he saw her as his best female friend. I'd been to their get-togethers before. I always had to watch Chloe dote on Caleb, catering to his every need. I caused a scene about it more than once, but Chloe never cared about my feelings, and her friends certainly weren't going to take my side. Eventually, I just stopped going, no matter how many times Chloe asked. "I don't feel like going to a bar. You could just drop me off at home, or I can get out here." I had the urge to tell her she should go to bars less, but I stopped myself. It wasn't my place. Before, I was always trying to control her, telling her what to do, which only made her resent me. It was better to just respect her choices. If she wanted to go to a bar, she could go to a bar. If she wanted to wear a short skirt, she could wear a short skirt. What did it have to do with me? But Chloe didn't slow down. She met my eyes in the mirror and said, "Jenna was adamant that you had to come. All the girls said they haven't seen you in forever. Can we just go for a little while and then head home?" I looked at her face in the reflection, puzzled. Something about her seemed different. I figured our relationship was on its last legs anyway, and since she was being so insistent, I nodded. "All right, fine." For the first time in a while, she smiled at me. She stepped on the gas, and we were at the bar in no time. When we found Jenna's booth, they were in the middle of a drinking game. Caleb looked up and saw Chloe. He immediately walked over and casually took her hand. "There you are. We've been waiting forever." Even over the loud music, I heard him clearly. Chloe glanced back at me, a flicker of panic in her eyes. I saw her subtly pull her hand away from his. This kind of overly familiar behavior was nothing new for them. Seeing it now, I felt nothing. It was only then that Caleb seemed to notice I was there. "Oh, hey, Ethan. You came too," he exclaimed with fake surprise. "We were just messing around. We're all close like that. You're not going to get bent out of shape about it, are you?" His smug grin was infuriating, but I just shook my head nonchalantly. "I'm just here for a bit. Don't mind me." I walked over, gave Jenna her gift, and after she thanked me, I sat down. Caleb pulled Chloe down to sit next to him and picked up a buffalo wing, holding it up to her lips. Chloe took a small bite before taking it from his hand. As they acted so intimately, I could feel everyone's eyes on me. But I ignored them and focused on the fruit platter. Soon, they started another round of their game, and Caleb kept finding excuses to do things that were uncomfortably close with Chloe. I used the excuse that I had to drive later and didn't join in. In no time, I had finished the entire fruit platter by myself. Maybe Caleb thought things weren't exciting enough because he suggested they play a new game, passing an ice cube from person to person using only their mouths. The point, of course, was that if the ice melted, your lips would touch. Everyone knew what Caleb was up to. Someone pointed out that it might be going too far, but Caleb insisted. I glanced at the time. It was already 11. Given my new early-to-bed routine, it was time for me to go. I leaned over to Chloe. I'm heading home. You could just get a rideshare later. Caleb overheard me and said loudly, Come on, Ethan, don't be a spoilsport. We could just go back to the other game if you want. No, I've got stuff to do, I said, waving him off. I'm leaving too, Chloe said, grabbing her purse and saying goodbye to her friends. I looked at her. It's fine, you should stay and have fun. Don't let me ruin everyone's night. I'm in it. But for some reason, Chloe's face darkened. We're going home. Now, she said, her tone sharp. She grabbed my hand and started pulling me toward the exit. From behind us, I heard Caleb's voice. Hey, I'm heading out too. I'll just catch a ride with you guys. He didn't wait for an answer, just tag along like a puppy. Since they had both been drinking, I was the designated driver. As we got to the car, Caleb tried to get Chloe to sit in the back with him, but she pushed him away. Caleb, you can sit in the back, she said. Then she got into the passenger seat and buckled up, completely ignoring Caleb, who was still standing outside the car. So, the guy who gets carsick could sit in the back after all. He was taking his time, so I honked the horn a few times. He glared at me, slammed his fist on the window, and stormed off in a huff. Fine by me. I didn't want to be his chauffeur anyway. On the drive home, I realized this was the first time I'd ever seen Chloe really drunk. I remembered she was usually a light drinker. Her cheeks were flushed, and her eyes were hazy as she looked at me. Ethan, she mumbled, we don't usually go to bars. And when we do, I normally turn down those games. I glanced at her, confused as to why she was explaining this to me now. In the past, I had so many questions she refused to answer. Was it just the alcohol talking? Ethan. She kept repeating my name in a small voice, and I saw her eyes were getting red. By the time we got home, she was asleep. I carried her to the guest room, then went to shower and go to bed myself. It had been a long day. 6. I couldn't believe it. The next morning, she was up before me, and she made a hot breakfast. When I walked out of my room, she smiled and waved me over to the table. Ethan, you've got time. Sit down and eat. I'll drive you to work when you're done. I shook my head. No thanks. A colleague is picking me up. Without touching the breakfast, I put on my shoes to leave. She rushed after me. We have a car. Why bother someone else? It's no trouble for me to take you. I looked at her, remembering when we first bought the car. She promised to drive me to and from work every day. That lasted about a week before she started complaining it was too much trouble, telling me to just take the subway. Driving me to my office meant going way out of her way, and she hated waking up so early. For the past 3 years, she hadn't driven me once. Caleb, on the other hand, worked near her, so he got a ride every day. In the front seat, of course. And now, out of the blue, she wanted to be my chauffeur. The project I'm on requires me to be on site sometimes. Not always at the office, I said as I walked. A coworker who lives nearby picks me up. The department reimburses us for gas, so it's not a big deal. She didn't say anything else, just watched me get into my colleague's car. A few minutes later, I got a text from her. Are there a lot of women on this project team? The team was made up of 5 women and 3 men, so she wasn't wrong. Yeah, I replied. It took her a while to text back. Work hard. Keep your mind on your job. I read the message and didn't reply. At lunch, the team was eating together in the cafeteria. I was scrolling through project details on my phone when a notification from Chloe popped up. Are you eating? I just had some amazing lasagna. It was followed by a picture of her meal. She never used to do this. She never took pictures of her food, never shared little bits of her day with me. Before, I was the only one who ever shared. Our text history was a long monologue from me, with her replies usually being 1 or 2 words, offering 0 emotional feedback. They say you can tell if someone loves you by how much they want to share their life with you. In the past, I'd send her pictures of everything: sunsets, interesting trees, cute dogs on the street. When we first got together, we could talk for hours about anything. I don't know when it changed, when it became a one-way conversation. It occurred to me later that she probably never even looked at the things I sent her, just gave me a quick, dismissive reply. A heart that's left out in the cold will eventually freeze. That's where I was now. Ever since our last big fight, I hadn't initiated a single text. It felt like she barely crossed my mind anymore. I let out a wry smile and, again, left her on read. 7. I continued my routine of working late, usually getting home around 10. And every night, Chloe would be waiting downstairs for me. I told her over and over again that she didn't have to, but she never listened. Doing whatever she wanted was her style. Eventually, I gave up. Having a free ride home every night wasn't so bad. After another 2 weeks of grinding, the project was finally complete. The team leader handed each of us a $10,000 bonus check and announced that he was taking everyone out for a huge celebration dinner. Everyone cheered, then all eyes turned to me. In the past, I'd skipped almost every work event. I was always worried Chloe might decide to come home for dinner, so I'd turn everything down to be at home, waiting with a hot meal for her. Even though I'd only get to eat with her once or twice a week, those rare dinners made me happy for days. I want to thank everyone for all your help and guidance on this project, I announced. I learned so much from all of you. Tonight, I'm buying the first round. The room erupted in cheers. It felt like the first time I'd ever really been part of a team event in all my years at the company. As we were getting ready to leave, I texted Chloe to let her know I was going to a party and she didn't need to wait for me. A moment later, she called. Ethan, I'm already at the grocery store. I was planning on making you a really nice dinner. Can't you just... I cut her off. It's the project wrap party. I can't skip it, and I don't want to. There was a silence on the other end. Okay, she finally said. Just send me the location. I'll come pick you up when you're done. The team leader had booked a huge private room, and the table was covered with incredible food and drinks. The project had been a massive success, bringing in a lot of revenue for the company, so the mood was celebratory all night. I got swept up in the atmosphere and had more than a few drinks. I barely looked at my phone until it rang. It was Chloe. I realized then that she'd sent me a bunch of texts I'd missed. Ethan, I'm waiting for you outside, she said. Just come out when you're done. I checked the time. It was just after 10. I sighed. All right. She must have heard the alcohol in my voice, because her tone shifted to one of concern. Don't drink too much. If anything happens, just call me, and I'll come right in and get you. Her words stunned me. What was with this sudden change? I remembered being in the hospital on an 4 drip until midnight, and she hadn't even offered to pick me up. She said she didn't want to mess up her sleep schedule for work the next day, and told me to just call a cab. But now, I didn't ditch my colleagues to run outside to her. I stayed until the party wrapped up around 11:30, then stumbled out the door. The second she saw me, she rushed over and took my arm. How much did you drink? Your face is completely red. I don't know. Probably not that much. I hadn't had a drink in a long time, so my tolerance was probably lower than it used to be. The world was definitely spinning. Chloe helped me into the passenger seat and buckled my seatbelt for me. Once she was in the driver's seat, she gently squeezed my cheek and smiled. You're just like you were in college. You get so cute when you're drunk. I'd heard once that a girl only calls a guy cute when she really likes him. The last time I'd heard her say that was in college. Her expression softened into one of remorse. Ethan, I'm so sorry, she said, her voice earnest. Now I know what it feels like to be the one waiting. I realized it too late. I turned to look at her, but my eyes were heavy. I was asleep in minutes. When I woke up again, we were parked in front of our building. Chloe was gently wiping my face with a damp cloth. Fueled by liquid courage, I decided to say what was on my mind. Chloe, there's something I need to tell you. Her hand froze. A flash of panic crossed her face before she quickly composed herself. Ethan, you're drunk right now. Whatever it is, can we talk about it when you're sober? Please. I looked into her eyes. Maybe she was right. I nodded. The next morning, I was woken up by a call from my team lead telling me to get to the office immediately. There was a new project, and because I'd done so well on the last one, I'd been chosen to help lead this one. Hearing about such a great opportunity, I jumped out of bed, threw on some clothes, and rushed out the door. Chloe saw me leaving and insisted on giving me a ride. Considering the urgency, I didn't argue and got in her car. This project was even more demanding than the last one, but I was thrilled by the challenge. This was how I could grow quickly and gain more experience. I also noticed that from that day on, Chloe was like a different person. She became more attentive and affectionate than she'd been even in the honeymoon phase of our relationship. She texted me every day, sharing little details about her life and letting me know her plans. She insisted on driving me to work and picking me up, turning down all invitations from her friends to have dinner waiting for me when I got home. If I was working late, she'd reheat my food over and over until I arrived. After we ate, she wouldn't let me lift a finger to clean up, telling me to focus on my work or go relax. Her behavior was unsettling, but I was so consumed by the project that I just let it happen. Thanks to the experience from the last project, we managed to finish this one ahead of schedule in just over 2 weeks. But after this project celebration dinner, Chloe wasn't there to pick me up. The next day, I got a text from her. "Ethan, I have to go to my parents for a bit. Please take care of yourself." With the project done, my boss gave us a few days off. I've been planning to finally have a serious talk with Chloe, but now she was gone. I remembered she only ever went back to her hometown for something important. I didn't press her on it. With my free time, I spent my days at the gym and my evenings catching up with old friends. For years, my world had been just Chloe, and I'd let so many friendships fade. This was a chance to reconnect. Without Chloe around, I felt a sense of freedom I hadn't realized I was missing. My friends told me I needed to have the talk with her soon, that dragging things out was the worst thing you could do in a relationship. I was waiting for Chloe to come back when I got a call from an unknown number. It was Caleb. "Ethan, where the hell are you?" Chloe fell and hurt her leg. I was stunned. I grabbed a lift and headed to the orthopedic clinic he mentioned. I found Chloe just coming out of the x-ray room, leaning on Caleb for support. The moment she saw me, her eyes lit up with surprise, but then she quickly looked away, unable to meet my gaze. I walked up to her. "I thought you were at your parents' house," I said softly. "You got back fast." Chloe stammered, looking at the floor. Caleb jumped in before she could finish. "Were you giving Chloe a hard time or something? She's been hiding out at Jenna's place for days." "And what kind of boyfriend are you?" he continued, his voice rising. "She's hurt, and you don't even seem to care." I ignored Caleb's theatrics. Chloe forcefully pushed him away. She bit her lip. "I didn't go home," she whispered. I couldn't face you." "Couldn't face me, right?" She couldn't bear to lose Caleb, but she also couldn't face breaking up with me. Our relationship had been an empty shell for a long time. "Chloe, this isn't necessary. When you're feeling better, we need to talk." I turned to leave. "Ethan, stay with me. Please." Chloe pleaded, her eyes wide and desperate. "You sprained your ankle. Put some ice on it. You're not so helpless that you can't take care of yourself, are you?" I saw her flinch, and a wave of guilt washed over her face. It seemed she remembered the time I got into a car accident and my leg was injured. I called her, asking her to take me to the hospital. Her response had been cold. "I'm busy right now. If your leg is hurt, but you can still make a phone call, you can call an ambulance." In the background, I could hear her friends and Caleb laughing. I specifically heard Caleb say, "Chloe, I peeled all this shrimp for you. Don't I get any praise?" I was in a car wreck, and she was having a seafood dinner with her friends. The pain of that day was so sharp, I had almost decided to end things then and there. But later, with just a few sweet words, she had me wrapped around her finger again. Thinking back on it now, I want to slap myself. It's true what they say about simps. Her voice was a choked whisper. "Ethan, I'm so sorry." I turned and walked away. Behind me, I heard Caleb's voice. "Chloe, your boyfriend is a real piece of work. You're hurt, and he doesn't give a damn, and he still makes you apologize to him? You need to leave that jerk." I smiled to myself and kept walking. 9. The next day, Chloe texted me. She said her leg was a bit worse than she thought, and she needed to stay at Jenna's to recover. I knew she was just procrastinating, avoiding the inevitable. But our relationship couldn't be fixed by dragging it out. Breaking up was our only option. The word breakup seems so simple, but it's incredibly hard to say. The thought of giving up on someone who's been a part of your life for 8 years feels like carving a piece out of your own heart. For 3 years in college, Chloe and I were like any other couple in love, our days filled with sweetness. I never once doubted her love for me back then. We'd wait for each other after class, leaving our footprints in every corner of the campus, studying together for exams. We traveled to so many places, and unlike the couples who always fight on vacation, we only ever found more happiness. This city was filled with memories of us. We dreamed of the future, of a big wedding and a simple, happy life together. I miss those days. But then Chloe changed. It started when Caleb moved back to the city and began reappearing in her life. In college, Caleb was the big man on campus, but Chloe was even more dazzling. To me, she was the most amazing girl I'd ever met, the embodiment of every good quality. That's why I worked so hard to keep up with her. My feelings for her started as admiration. This brilliant, shining girl had a crush on the charismatic player, Caleb, and he rejected her time and time again. I found out later it was because Caleb was dating a rich girl from school. The girl was plain and a little overweight, but she could buy him designer clothes that cost thousands of dollars, something Chloe, from a middle-class family, couldn't do. Chloe was devastated. She stopped smiling for a long time and lost a noticeable amount of weight. Why would such an incredible person be heartbroken over a guy like that? Eventually, I worked up the courage to ask her out, planning an elaborate confession. To my complete shock, she smiled, accepted my flowers, and agreed to be with me. With me by her side, Chloe slowly got better. The smile returned to her face, brighter each day. We started a beautiful, happy relationship. Then, Caleb came back, and Chloe's old feelings were stirred up. He could pull her away from me with a single phone call, whether we were celebrating an anniversary or I was sick in the hospital. I fought with her about it so many times, but it only pushed her further away, making her want to see me less and less. Countless times, I was on the verge of breaking up with her, but every time the words reached my lips, I couldn't say them. I was afraid that if I said it, there would be no going back, afraid that I would regret it later. But I hadn't done anything wrong in this relationship. Why was I the one who was always getting hurt? So I let it drag on, until finally, I had no hope left for her. After all this time to think, I realized I was finally clear-headed. A breakup was the only path forward for us. I wouldn't hesitate anymore. I was done torturing myself. 10. For days later, I finally heard from Chloe. She texted to say she was waiting for me at home. I went straight there after work. When I walked in, I saw she had cooked a full spread of my favorite dishes. Candles were lit on the table, casting a warm, inviting glow. She came over, took my bag, and smiled at me. "Ethan, let's eat first." I sighed and sat down at the table. She placed a bowl of rice in front of me, then sat down and began piling food onto my plate. "Ethan, eat more," she kept saying. In the past, whenever I was about to give up on her, a gesture like this would be enough to make me stay. But now, I calmly ate everything in my bowl, looked at her, and said with conviction, "Chloe, we need to break up. Let's get married." We spoke at the exact same time. As I stared at her in confusion, she opened a ring box, revealing a simple, elegant men's wedding band. "I've been looking at rings for the past few days. I remember you showed me this one a long time ago." Her eyes were red, and her voice trembled. "Ethan, I want to marry you. I promise I'll be a good wife." I stared at the ring, my mind flashing back to the day I'd excitedly shown it to her on a website. She had dismissed it with a wave of her hand. Marrying her had been my ultimate dream. I'd imagined her walking down the aisle toward me in a white dress countless times. Now, she was the one with the ring, asking me to marry her, and I felt nothing. No one waits forever, especially not someone whose heart has been broken one too many times. "Chloe, let's break up." I repeated, my voice flat, my face a mask. Her eyes flickered, but she didn't seem shocked. Perhaps she had been preparing herself for this. After a long silence, she finally spoke. "Ethan, when did you stop loving me?" I looked at her, saying nothing. She continued, "Was it the day you were sick in the hospital, and I went to Austin with Caleb? Or was it when I promised to meet your friends, but stood you up for him?" I thought for a moment. "You're right about all of it," I said. But it wasn't just one thing. It was 1,000 little things, like a snowball rolling downhill, getting bigger and bigger, until it finally crashed. It crushed all the love and hope I had for you. Tears instantly streamed down her face. "I'm sorry, Ethan," she choked out. "I'm so sorry. I did so many things that hurt you because of Caleb. I know that now. I was wrong. Please, just give me one more chance. From now on, I'll only listen to you. You will always be my #1 priority. Please don't leave me." When I didn't respond, she got up, came over, and knelt beside my chair, grabbing my hand as tears streamed down her face. "Ethan, I'll change everything. Everything that used to bother you, I'll fix it. I'll make you dinner every night and have breakfast ready for you in the morning. I'll be there for your birthday, and our anniversaries. Whatever you want to do, I'll do it with you. Her tears were like a broken dam. I'll never talk to Caleb again. I'll delete his number, block him everywhere. You can look at my phone whenever you want. Please, just don't leave me. I'm begging you. I looked at the woman sobbing at my feet and let out a weary sigh. Chloe, you knew. You knew exactly what would hurt me, and you did it anyway, because you didn't care about my feelings. You took my love for granted. Because I loved you, because I couldn't bear to leave you, you were free to trample all over my heart. And now you expect me to love you again? Do you really think that's fair? Her crying intensified into loud sobs. She just kept shaking her head and repeating, Ethan, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Ethan, please don't leave me. I was getting frustrated. I pulled my hand away. We're done. There's no love left between us. Dragging this out will only torture us both. No, that's not true. Ethan, I love you. I love you so much. Chloe shook her head frantically, her body slumping from kneel to sitting on the floor. I think you're confused. You know exactly what it's like to love someone. You gave all of your exceptions, all of your special treatment, to Caleb. He's the one you've always loved. I was just a habit. No, that's not it. I just didn't realize how much I loved you until it was too late, she explained desperately. It wasn't until I felt you slipping away that the pain hit me, and I finally understood. I finally saw how much I love you. With Caleb, it was just an old wound, a sense of unfinished business. Even when he dated all those other girls, it never hurt like the thought of losing you. Ethan, forgive me for being so blind for so long. I swear I'll never have anything to do with him again. I only love you. We can get married. I'll be the perfect wife. Just give me one more chance, please. I shook my head, my voice cold. But I don't love you anymore. And I'm not going to sacrifice myself for you again. I deserve better. Chloe seemed to break. Her hands, which had been clutching mine, fell away. She knelt on the floor, buried her face in her hands, and cried. I went to the bedroom and grabbed my suitcase, which was already mostly packed. This apartment belonged to her parents. After the breakup, I had no right to stay here. I was dragging my suitcase to the door when there was a loud, insistent knock. I opened it to find Caleb standing there, holding several bags. Chloe, why did you block me? My damn landlord kicked me out. I'm going to crash here for a while. He didn't even look at me, his tone completely entitled, as if it was a given that Chloe would do anything for him. And to be fair, in the past, she probably would have let him move in. Caleb finally glanced at me. I seem to recall this is Chloe's place, Ethan, so it doesn't matter what you think. I laughed coldly. Not my problem. You two can do whatever you want. Move. You're my way. I pushed him aside and started to pull my suitcase out the door. Chloe scrambled to her feet to stop me, but Caleb blocked her path. Chloe, come on. Help me get a room set up. Smack. The sharp sound of a slap echoed in the room. Chloe had slapped Caleb across the face. Caleb, get the hell out of my house. I turned back to see Caleb's face twisted in rage and disbelief. You hit me? You hit me for him. Get out. Chloe screamed hysterically. Furious, Caleb shoved her hard, sending her stumbling backward, and stormed out. Fine, Chloe, you'll regret this, he yelled before he left. The next time you come crying to me, don't expect any sympathy. I looked at Chloe, who had fallen to the floor, but I felt no pity. That's the man you chased for 2 years in college. I asked quietly. That's the man you couldn't get over? 11. I turned to leave again. Scrambling, she lunged forward and wrapped her arms around my legs, not caring about the pain. Ethan, don't go, she cried, her voice raw and desperate. I'm begging you, please don't go. I looked down at her eyes, filled with desperation and regret. This was the first time I had ever seen her so broken. Not even Caleb's repeated rejections had brought her to this. We're done, Chloe. Have some dignity. I reached down and pried her hands off me. I used to see you as this incredible, shining star. Don't drag yourself through the mud like this. She collapsed onto the floor, her cries echoing in the hallway. By the time I got to the elevator, she had followed me again, so frantic she'd lost one of her slippers on the way. Ethan, no matter what I do, you're never going to forgive me, are you? I stopped and looked at her shattered expression. My heart remained unmoved. Chloe, this is the end. We are completely over. Our lives no longer include each other. I'm moving on, I said. Goodbye. I turned and walked away. This time, she didn't try to stop me. I stepped out into the moonlight, walking toward a happier future. 12. After that night, I quit my job and left the city that held so many painful memories. I moved back to my hometown. With the experience from those two major projects, I landed a much better position at a new company. Within 6 months, I was leading my own team on even bigger projects. By pouring myself into my work, my life started to feel smooth and successful. I reconnected with old friends and made new ones. For a while, Chloe kept trying to contact me, using new phone numbers and fake social media accounts, still hoping to win me back. It became so relentless that I finally changed my phone number and all my social media profiles. It was a hassle, but to truly leave the past behind, I had to make a clean break. Then, one day, I received a letter. It was from my old college buddy, the one who had sent me the video. He said Chloe had asked him to forward it to me. After a moment's hesitation, I opened it. "Ethan, I'm sorry for harassing you these past 6 months. I haven't been able to move on from a life with you in it, so I kept hoping you would give me another chance. When I saw that you had deleted your accounts and changed your number, I finally understood how much I was bothering you, and how much you must hate me. I won't bother you anymore." A few days ago, Caleb showed up at my door. He banged on it from morning until night. I wasn't going to let him in, but then I saw him collapse outside. He had a medical condition, something about fainting when he gets too emotional. I was worried, so I opened the door to help him. But as soon as I got him inside, he was miraculously fine. He got on his knees and begged me to cook for him one last time, promising he would leave me alone forever after that. I felt sorry for him. I said yes. He drugged my water. When I woke up, I was naked. I called the police. He's in jail now, but I'm pregnant. The doctor said if I terminate the pregnancy, I might never be able to have children. Ethan, do you know how much I wanted to marry you? To have 2 kids and live a happy life together? If the baby isn't yours, then it's all meaningless. I've sold the apartment and moved back to my parents' house. I'm trying to do what you once told me I should, spend more time with my family. For all the pain I caused you, I'm once again so sorry. I don't know if my karma will make you feel any better, but this is my reality now. That's all. I hope you find happiness, Ethan. I hope you find the love you deserve. Goodbye. Love, Chloe. Reading the letter, my mind drifted back to our college campus. I remembered Chloe back then, young, brilliant, and radiating light. I thought she was destined for an amazing future that everyone would envy. But life is unpredictable. Neither of us could control our fate. All I hope is that the next time I choose to love someone, I'll do it with my eyes wide open and never give my heart to the wrong person again.